Tonight on the King Omar Sharif Show, we're going to be talking about the heavy price that has to be paid when fighting in our relationships. If it's not addressed properly, you'll begin to see the love diminish, and that can always lead to toxic environments. And I don't want you to lose your love, y'all. I really don't. So tonight we're going to come up with some strategies to help us avoid arguments and to strengthen our relationships. I can't wait any longer, y'all. Let's talk about it.
You know what, you right, for that light, I fight, to shine bright, I might, let's ignite tonight. Trigger me, I'm just trying to be a bigger me, cause I've been traumatized, but still, I'ma rise, I'ma rise, I'ma rise. This is where the drama dies, it's over. This is where the drama dies, it's over. This is where the drama dies. I'ma rise, I'ma rise. This is where the drama dies. Welcome to the funeral. I'm the one numeral, doing the improbable, feeling unstoppable. It was crucial, living frugal. This can't be fruitful, what I'm used to. No approval, nobody useful. It was brutal, with no refusal. Just a renewal, ramen noodle, a project pupil, the whole caboodle. Love your kid, look what you did. Should do it big, got me holding on to this hurt I never should've hit.
Hello, my beautiful people. I welcome you back to the King Omar Sharif Show, where love and light come together. This show is all about you, your mind, your body, your soul. I believe if we can control those three things, we'll find happiness. All right, y'all, it is Tuesday night. And you know, each and every Tuesday night, we get right here on the King Omar Sharif Show. And I invite you, I welcome you, I extend my hand for you to join and be a part of my family. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. I will be here each and every Tuesday night. I will not let you down. I'm growing right before your eyes, and I invite you to grow with me. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, especially if you could connect with this information and how we talking tonight. If you like the show, be a part of it, all right? I appreciate you. That's love. All right, y'all, tonight's topic is something that I feel like we've all done at some point in our lives, if we're not still doing it right now in this very moment. You may have had an argument earlier today when you woke up, before you went to sleep. And these are things that we shouldn't be doing to set the tones for our rest that night and how we start our days. So I'm sure there's a lot of couples out there who go through hard times and probably can't find their way out of that mist and out of that dust and disgust and cloudiness and fogginess each and every day. Because when you do argue, that diminishes the trust, it messes up the communication, and it does something to our emotional connection, more like emotional disconnection. So I wanted to take this time tonight just to address something that I feel like so many of us out here can identify with, can relate to, can connect to. And that's what this channel and show is all about, all right? So I just mentioned communication and how that gets all messed up. One thing I feel like we need to take into consideration when we're communicating with each other is using I statements. Don't try to put the blame on the person that you're talking to. Take accountability in it. I did this. I did that. And I will be better. Say that with me. I will be better. I can be better. All right? And I will take ownership of my mistakes and maybe the things that I've done to trigger my lady or my man. So that's one thing that we need to address. Just start saying I. And then there will be times when you're using we, but I'm hoping that you can use we when you're talking about positivity, okay? When there's positive thoughts, positive actions, positive planning, positive things to put in place, that's when you start using we, okay? So just take that into consideration. I think that's something that can help us out, because when you finger point and you're blaming somebody else and not looking yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, what did you do wrong here? We may both be wrong here, but what's my part in it? How can I play this out a little differently to make us better? Okay? So start using I instead of saying you. Okay? Stop pointing that finger, y'all. Take accountability. Have you ever done something in your life where you was like, man, I should have did something different. I should have never did that. I should have never let her in my life. I should have never gave him some. There's a lot of different things that we could wish we did differently in life, okay? It's called resentment. And that's not something that you want to live with. You don't want to live with resentment, especially when you're not trying to change the mistakes that you feel like you made, all right? So with resentment, and you start putting your mind in that space, right? And you start thinking about, man, I could do so much better than him or her. That's when that lack of intimacy jumps in there, okay? And I told y'all before that the best version of intimacy is mental intimacy, emotional intimacy. Those are the best types of intimacy, because when it's time for the physical intimacy, it's gonna be superb. It's gonna be 1,000 times better, okay? It's gonna be guaranteed, because you got a different type of connection with your person. And that's what makes it all pretty. That's what makes it all beautiful. All right? So work on that mental, work on that emotional and spiritual. This is the Mind, Body, and Soul Control channel, of course, where love and light come together. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to give you a little bit more love, trying to shine a little bit more light into your life and into your relationship. And that intimacy is very important. And when you got that resentment, when you have that doubt, it's only going to be taken away from the current and present day. So let's work on that. Another thing that fighting does, it brings us stress. And when stress comes, anxiety comes, and when those two things are combined, it messes up how we see everything else around us. Okay? That just sets me off in a bad mood. So something that may have not bothered me another day, on this day, is going to bother me. Okay? So we gotta try to be able to control what goes on in our households, because when we go out in the world, we take that with us. We take that weight, we take that heaviness with us. And we start snapping and being short and not being our lovable selves. I don't care how you view yourself. If you're the meanest person in the world, if you want to be the villain, if you view yourself as a villain, once I take all that anger out of you, once I weave through it, underneath all that is love. Because you still are the Creator's creation. And the Creator is love. All right? It may have got tangled up along the way during your walk of life. You may have seen it growing up as you've come up in your life. And that's another very, very, very important thing. I'm a father of 2. I got a beautiful baby girl and a beautiful baby boy. And I feel like we got to make sure that we're being mindful of our children. Coming up in my household, I've seen some things. I've heard some things. And I could tell you this, they wasn't words that came from the Creator. They aren't visions and scenes that come from the Creator, okay? It was more like, I hate you, or you get on my nerves. And I'm not saying I came up in a household where it was always like that, but there were moments as a youngin' seeing all this stuff that's going on around me where I'm like, okay, this different. So sometimes that stands out in your mind. If not more, you don't forget it. It's kind of balanced out. So we got to be mindful of our babies. We got to be mindful of our children, because I don't want to pass down my trauma onto my baby, my innocent baby, my loving baby, my sweet baby. My baby don't know no different. Yeah, we have temperaments and genetics that we could pass down to our babies, but overall, we hold the power to guide them and lead them in nothing but the word of love. Okay? And a lot of us, including me, I'm not sitting here saying I don't have it, but a lot of our trauma comes from our childhood. Okay? That's the hood that it comes from. I don't care if you grew up in the hood or not. You could have grew up secluded in the mountains. You could have grew up in the flatlands of the Midwest, wherever you came up at, city, whatever. I'm just letting you know that hood, childhood, is the one where a lot of our development comes from, and how we view life and how we view our relationships. So just be mindful of your babies. Please, 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 please. Our precious babies, our precious presents, our gifts. Be mindful of them because, like I mentioned, a lot of our trauma comes from that. All right, I'm talking about how we grow and how we go. And all that negativity is only going to create a negative environment. And that makes it hard to kind of change the environment, especially if you got somebody that you view as is always negative. Is always looking at life like it's messed up or it's never gonna get better, okay? You need to make that decision for yourself. Can I be in this environment? Do I wanna be in this toxicity, okay? Now, you could be the person that doesn't want it, and then that person that you're with brings the worst out of you. But you love this person, you could be naive, you could be young. To all my beautiful young queens out there, all right? Don't allow somebody to take your peace and change who you are because you love them. Oh, I love him, so I allowed this to happen. Oh, I loved her, so I allowed this to happen. Okay? I got nieces, I got little cousins, I got all these young, beautiful women in my life, okay? Teenagers, young adults who have a lot to learn. And I don't want y'all to confuse love with what you need to be doing for yourself, okay? No matter how much you love somebody, sometimes it just ain't gonna work out. Sometimes you just gotta draw the line in love. Sometimes you gotta split it. Excuse me. Sometimes you gotta still lost it. Come back. Fa la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. That's where I want to be. In love, harmony, peace. You know what I mean? And all this drama, all this negativity, it ain't good for you. It ain't good for them. It ain't good for the babies. It ain't good for nobody. All right? So young queens, young kings, it ain't always the ladies that we trying to protect. Some of y'all out there got a lot of drama with y'all too. And you could pass it on to the young prince or the young king. So let's just try to figure out what we're gonna do. And speaking about figuring out what we need to do, now it's time to provide some strategies and to give some thought to how we could be better in our own right, in our own lives, and in our relationships. Let's get it. So inner me, why don't you just dive back into when we didn't have it all figured out? Now you know I know you best, better than the rest. And if it was up to me, I'll keep you a mess, all right? But, you know, I remember when you ain't care. I remember when you had a bad temper. I remember when you would just go in and hurt people's feelings. I remember all that. I see you trying to be different, but I don't know if I'm really ready for you to be different. That's my dilemma. Letting you go from what you used to. Letting you go out of your comfort zone. Because we comfortable here. You know? Why change? Why mess up a good thing in my mind? It ain't that bad, right? A lot of people do it, right? A lot of people got anger issues that they not trying to overcome. A lot of people got that test of being able to control their temper. A lot of people got that, right? So why you want to be different? That's that part that I don't get all the time. But, you know, I'm going to always be in your ear. And deep down, to be honest with you, I want you to be better. But I don't think that you want to be better enough. So, like I said, we both used to how things are. Why change them? We don't got to do that. But, do what you got to do to make yourself feel better. I'm going to be right here waiting for you to stumble and crumble. And that's just what it is. And when you're truly ready to be different and change and be the one that I know you are, then hey, I'm going to change with you and support all that goodness that you want to see for yourself and for everybody else. For real. I appreciate you, inner me. Now, the thing about my inner me, I said this last week, your inner me could be your enemy, all right? So my message was to allow your inner me, you got to overcome and defeat your inner me so your inner me could be on positivity and peace and love and happiness and joy. And that's all that your inner me is really trying to seek and all that is really trying to absorb, all right? So let's talk about the strategies now. One thing that we could do is be clear and calm. Ain't that hard to do when somebody like barking all in your ear, going crazy on you? That's gonna take practice. I'm not saying that you're gonna get it right the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, however many times, but I want you to be conscious of being clear on what you want, being clear on what you mean, and being calm about it. Calm about it. Even when somebody's like, yo, I hate you. You get on my nerves. I bet you do. That ain't how I want you to see me, though. That's gonna be hard, right? That ain't gonna be an easy one. How about when somebody is going crazy, you try to do your best with listening. Ooh, you gotta be a good listener, right? Will Smith ears. Give me them Wills right now. You gotta have them Will Smith. You gotta have them Martin Lawrence ears. Martin, you gotta have those type of ears. You gotta be able to listen to what that person is saying before you just go dive into the argument without really understanding what's even going on. And that's where that speak calmly comes back into play. All right? So we gotta combine those things with each other to make them work in our advantage. And eventually, hopefully, the person that's your man or lady that's on edge and wilding and can't control themselves, maybe that'll start rubbing off on them. Now, when they out of control and going crazy, and you trying your best to be calm, at that moment, maybe you need to just take a deep breath. In through the nose, out the mouth. All right? Because that's a moment where you need to just shut down, take that breath, think about what's going on, collect your thoughts, walk away, and tell that person, hey, when's the best time that you think that we could talk about this when things could be a little bit better for us to talk to each other and get some understanding? That's a good solution right there. Now, it takes a lot of practice, y'all. It's going to take a lot of maturity from you to be able to do that. Because your initial thought is, oh, I know you're not talking to me. Isn't that the initial thought? Oh, I know you ain't just do that, right? Isn't that the first reaction? But the first reaction and being in the moment isn't always the best reaction or the right reaction. So when you feel things is going out of control, shut it down and say, hey, let me cool off. I want you to cool off because things is getting real heated right now. And maybe we could talk about this again in an hour, 2 hours, tomorrow, whatever it may be, okay? Now, another thing that is so vital in avoiding arguments and showing your strength is choosing your battles wisely. Oh my goodness. Choosing your battles wisely. Is it really worth it? I know what's about to happen if I go and match your level. Is it worth it? I know my babies are watching in the background Is it worth it? I know I'm gonna curse you out and call you all types of bad stuff. And I could have said stuff using a different word. But you know, I'm trying to change myself and be a better version of myself. And I want you to do the same for you. But is it worth it? Is it worth the aggravation? Is it really worth the stress? Is it worth the hurt, the name calling, the throwing stuff back in people's faces? Is it worth all of that? We all got some level of trauma, pain, and hurt in our lives, wherever it may stem from, whatever the root of that pain is. But is it worth just stomping all over somebody? Is it worth throwing gasoline on it to make the fire bigger? Huh? Is it worth the gunshots? Is it worth the stabbings? Is it worth it? This takes growth, y'all. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I fall short of this. But at the same time, I try to be mindful of it. I can open up. There's somebody in my life, and I don't want to say names because you never know what type of judge I could end up in front of, but y'all could probably get an understanding of who I'm talking about. But it's somebody in particular in my life that doesn't like me. No matter how peaceful I can speak, no matter how loving I can speak, no matter how much I'm there, no matter how much I try to do. And, you know, sometimes when you're doing things, it still feel like it's not enough. And deep down, I know it's not enough, but I'm trying to do more for myself and for somebody else. You out there, you my family now. But it seems like that person is the one in my life that always wants to poke at me and attack me and take me out of this. You see this? Colgate smile. All right? And I don't like that. So, especially when I know I'm working so hard on myself and I'm trying to be a good example to the world, and especially to the people that's closest to me and the people that I care about the most, you know? So I'm still trying to practice this, right? I'm trying to get my AI on. Practice? We talking about practice? Yeah, we gotta practice to be better. You're never gonna be perfect at anything. Nothing. Nobody's gonna be 100%. Nobody's ever gonna bat 1,000. It'll never, ever happen. But as long as you practice and you taking those losses and you learning from those losses and you turning those losses into wins and victories, that's your triumph. That's where you see the growth. That's where you can say, hey, I got better. All right, so just be mindful of those things and you'll see progress. Another solution, and this is something that I would see myself doing in my last relationship, you got to be mindful of nonverbal communication. You can still communicate through your body language and what you're not saying. You may think that you're avoiding something, but in that silence, you're making things worse. So I recall and remember us not being in that loving lane. And I'm feeling like she did something and she feeling like I did something. And for whatever reason, we wasn't able to say, look, this is smaller than what we are. Because what we are is bigger than this situation. But we will always fall into this space where, not always, but when it was bad, we wouldn't be talking to each other. That's that nonverbal communication. And what is that nonverbal communication saying? All types of profanity, right? So you stick around and you be around somebody because you love them. But when it's quiet and when it's silent and when it's nonverbal, that communication can make your person feel like you hate them, you despise them. All right? I don't love you as much as you think I do. You know what I mean? So try to be mindful of that. So that's why I said pick a time where we can revisit what we're talking about after everything cools down. Because before, I wasn't picking times. I wasn't saying, hey, we ain't right now. So, but I promise you from experience, it only made things worse because she felt like I wasn't there for her when she was in her weakest. And trust and believe, I'm the type of person that wants to put a smile on my lady's face. I love making my lady laugh, okay? I love it. And to be clear, I don't have a lady right now. But when I'm in a relationship, that I grow energy from that. I grow strength from that. I love it. Like when she's having a bad day or something very traumatic happened or whatever we going through, what she's going through, despite it all, when she got a tear coming down her face and I can still make her smile, that's precious. That's special. Okay? So that's not everybody's characteristic. But if you're able to do anything, maybe it's not something that you can say to her or him. Maybe it's something that you could do during those times that will give them that peace and that smile that they can put on their face. You know? Maybe that's when you can show up and say, hey, I know you love this, so I went and got it for you. I know it's been a rough day, rough days, whatever it may have been. But you can show up in that manner. You don't always got to be the funny man or the guy that knows what to say. Sometimes you can be the person that knows what to do. Ladies, I'm talking to you too. Cause I'll let you know right now, like, your man, he needs so much support. And let's be honest, y'all. How many people on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, yearly, lifely, is there to be supportive of you when you're trying to do something and accomplish something and be better? Not many people are gonna come and be that individual in your life. So if y'all can be that for each other, show it, do it. It's only gonna make both of y'all better, and your lives better, and your families better. Be supportive of each other. Don't be scared to say nice things, or don't say, it don't matter if I don't congratulate or celebrate. You know what I mean? So just make sure that we share those moments. So I know I'm talking a lot, and I would love to know what strategies you've implemented in your relationship, and I'm sure we all do, right? The entire family wants to know. So whatever's worked for you in your relationship, why don't you let us know in the comments? I would love to hear from you, and I'm sure your brothers and your sisters out there who are also watching this channel would love to hear from you too, okay? So that's what I got for y'all tonight, all right? We trying to just manage our emotions and be better in our relationships and try to get out of all that negativity, okay? And focus on what we really need in life. And what we need in life is happiness and love, all right? So y'all, let's bring this on over here. Let's get some toast time with the king. And I want us to be able to toast to prioritizing what really matters in our relationships. I want us to focus on light. I want us to focus on love. I want us to be able to learn. I want us to be able to progress. I want us to be able to share our stories with somebody else so they can see, like, hey, I'm just like you. So they can see that light at the end of the tunnel. So that they can see the hope when they feel like their back is up against the rope. You can still win, you can still shine, and you can still be the best version of yourself and with the person that you're with. This toast is to us, and let's throw it up. This is straight lemon and ginger, honey, spring water. It's on the money. Salute to us and to a better life. It's so good. This episode of the King Omar Sharif Show is solely presented for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. I thank you so much for tuning in once again tonight. And if this is your first time seeing the King Omar Sharif Show, there's going to be so much more to come. And if you like tonight's content, please subscribe and let's make this channel grow. All right? Let somebody else know in your life that may be struggling with something, because we're only here to help each other. I'm growing right before your eyes, and I would love for you to join the family. Subscribe, y'all. And there's so much more to come and so much more to see, like this show and this show. I can't wait to talk to y'all next week. That's love.